This moment is less about a single quote and more about how modern fandom, media optics, and roster building collide in real time. Kevin Stefanski's measured post-game comments after Shedeur Sanders' strong preseason showing read to some fans as cold or dismissive, and in the era of social amplification, a handful of clipped reactions can quickly metastasize into calls for a coach's job. But strip away the headlines and the Twitter outrage, and you get a more nuanced picture. A coach balancing competitive fairness, locker room chemistry, development timelines, and the unavoidable need to manage expectations. Start with what actually happened on the field. Sanders, a fifth-round rookie who hadn't taken many first-team reps, delivered a meaningful performance. 14 of 23 for 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 sacks, and no turnovers across nearly 3 quarters. For a player in his position, that's a legit audition. It's the kind of game tape that forces a club to reassess its depth chart and its developmental plan, and that's exactly what it did to Cleveland. Those are football reasons to bump up a player's reps, not an abstract social media storyline. Now consider Stefanski's role. Coaches are measured public servants of a different sort. They must develop players, preserve team cohesion, protect inside evaluations, and avoid tipping their hand to opponents. Public exuberance for a rookie after a single preseason half can create unrealistic expectations, invite locker room discord, and force opposing teams to game plan differently. Stefanski's posture, complimentary but guarded, was standard operating procedure, saying, "We're in evaluation mode and promising more reps is the classic coach's move. Reward performance while reminding everyone the full evaluation process remains ongoing." Why did fans react so strongly? 2 reasons. 1, Shedeur is a high-profile, highly marketable figure, son of Deion Sanders, national story, celebrity endorsements, and the kind of narrative that fans love to rally behind. When those narratives hit the field with on-field production, the emotional reaction is huge and immediate. 2, fans view coaches as custodians of opportunity. If a beloved young player looks the part, the expectation is that the coach should greenlight the path. Anything that looks like inaction, negativity, or even neutral reserve can be framed as sabotage. But firing a head coach over one post-game tone would be reactionary and strategically myopic. NFL organizations make personnel decisions based on long-term performance, win-loss records, relationships within the building, and cultural fit, not on a single press conference inflection. The realities are pragmatic. Stefanski's job security will hinge on wins, playoff results, roster construction, and his relationships with ownership in the locker room. One comment that fans interpret as cold won't move that needle unless it's tied to a pattern of neglect or losing results. There's also an important internal logic at play. Coaches guard the competitive process for a reason. If Stefanski had gushed publicly, "He's the starter next week," he would have effectively forced the staff's hand, limited its flexibility, and potentially undermined other quarterbacks' development. It also might have disadvantaged the team strategically by telegraphing their quarterback situation to opponents and by placing unnecessary pressure on a rookie still learning protections, processing speed, and complex coverages. By promising more reps instead, Stefanski both rewards Sanders and preserves the evaluation structure. That said, optics matter in the public era. A coach's body language or clipped answers can be read as cold or indifferent, especially in a city that's emotionally invested. The smart move for Cleveland staff is straightforward and twofold. First, accelerate meaningful repetitions for Sanders in practice with first-team defenders so that the evaluation moves from highlight reels to true, repeatable performance under pressure. Second, control the narrative proactively. A short, candid follow-up that acknowledges Sanders' performance and explains the plan for his development in clear terms would diffuse a lot of the social media heat without compromising internal strategy. From a roster-building standpoint, Sanders' debut changes the calculus. He's cheap, controllable for 4 years, and now shows on-field traits that justify more investment. That creates leverage for the Browns. Keeping a high-upside rookie with team control is often preferable to carrying older, more expensive backups. But keeping him also requires the staff to manage the depth chart carefully, balancing Joe Flacco's veteran stability, the club's draft investments in other QBs, and the broader need to field a competitive roster this season. Locker room dynamics matter too. Coaches must ensure that the team perceives opportunity as fair. If other quarterbacks believe they're being arbitrarily passed over due to narrative pressure, competitive friction will rise. Stefanski's approach, measured praise plus more reps, is a sensible attempt to thread that needle. Reward strong play while keeping the evaluation process credible. Finally, the fans' passion is valuable and real. It's part of the franchise's lifeblood. But passion should translate into constructive influence, not immediate demand for extreme personnel moves. If fans want to help, they should push for transparency, clarity from the club about what they value in a quarterback, visible evidence of Sanders' development plan, and consistent evaluation criteria. Those are the things that bridge emotion and reason. In short, the social media storm over Stefanski's post-game demeanor is understandable but overblown. The substantive takeaway is that Shedeur Sanders forced the Browns into a legitimate evaluation pivot, and Stefanski's response, measured public praise combined with the promise of more reps, is exactly the tightrope a coach should walk. The next week of practice reps and another preseason outing will tell us whether this was a breakthrough performance that merits a roster spot or a promising flash that still needs seasoning. Until then, firing a head coach over one quote would be premature. Accelerating the player development and clarifying the plan would be the smarter, football-first response. Shedeur Sanders made a loud first impression in Cleveland's preseason opener, and even an AFC North front office official admitted to being actually shocked by how well the rookie looked. Thrown into the start after hamstring injuries sidelined Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel, and with Joe Flacco held out, the fifth-round pick from Colorado entered the game with almost no first-team practice work. Head coach Kevin Stefanski told reporters he planned to give Sanders roughly 50 snaps, and the rookie took full advantage. Through the first half, Sanders was 11 of 18 for 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 113.9 passer rating, and a 10-yard scramble for a first down. Both scoring throws were to Caden Davis. The first, a well-placed play-action bootleg into the back of the end zone. The second, a tighter, more aggressive strike after Sanders stepped up in the pocket. He later lofted a 30-yard pass to Luke Floria that resulted in a one-handed sideline catch, and he threaded a 19-yarder to Gage Larvadane from inside his own end zone under pressure. Those moments, operating from shotgun and under center, executing in the red zone, converting third and long, and improvising when lanes closed, highlighted Sanders' poise. On the broadcast, veteran QB Joe Flacco complimented the rookie's decision-making, noting that Sanders got the ball out quickly while still showing the ability to extend plays when necessary. That positive reaction extended off the field. NFL insider Jordan Schultz shared a text from a high-ranking AFC North executive who wrote, "It's early, but wow, actually shocked at how good he looks." To be fair, the tape wasn't flawless. Sanders overthrew a wide-open Dylan Sampson on a deeper shot and held the ball too long on a failed fourth down attempt. He was sacked twice and showed the sort of rookie inconsistency that comes from limited preparation time. Still, for a player who had been fourth on the depth chart and lacked starter reps in practice, the overall performance was eye-opening. Context matters. Sanders' fall to the fifth round was one of the draft's wildest slides, and the Browns did not have immediate plans to thrust him into the spotlight. But preseason is about opportunities, and Sanders answered when Cleveland handed him one. Stefanski indicated Sanders will get more game reps next week against Philadelphia, and the Browns will now have to weigh what they saw on tape against the team's existing quarterback plans. Bottom line, it's too early to declare a depth chart shakeup, but after Friday night, Sanders has earned a closer look. Coaches and evaluators will study the tape, and the Browns' quarterback conversation just became a lot harder to ignore.